It's August 24th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a powerless jet gliding towards the ocean, a famous portrait rescued, and the final known inscription that survived thousands of years. Let's begin. On August 24th, 2001, 306 people were flying over the Atlantic when their aircraft began silently bleeding fuel into the darkness. Air Transat Flight 236 had departed Toronto for Lisbon, unaware that a mismatched engine component had ruptured a fuel line. At 39,000 feet, warning lights appeared, and then the right engine died. Minutes later, the second engine. The familiar hum vanished, and emergency lights flickered, oxygen masks dropped, and the massive Airbus became a powerless glider with nothing beneath it but black ocean. Captain Robert Pitch and First Officer Dirk Jagger aimed for Lazarus Air Base in Azores. For 19 terrifying minutes, they glided approximately 120 kilometers. They were approaching too fast and too high, so they turned sharply to lose altitude. The jet struck the runway at nearly 200 knots, bouncing and shredding the tires as emergency brakes locked. Then it finally stopped. All 306 people survived. They were saved by a flight crew, a distant island, and 19 minutes of impossible silence. On August 24th, in the year 394, an Egyptian priest approached the gate of Hadrian at the Temple of Isis. His name was Esmet Akom, and into the ancient stone he carved an image of Nubian god Mandulis by hieroglyphs and demonic writing. Among his words were the haunting wish for all time and eternity. He could have not known that his carving would be known as the final sentence in one of humanity's oldest written languages. Across Egypt, ancient temples were closing, the old religion was disappearing, and the last priests died. Knowledge needed to read these sacred symbols faded with them. The inscriptions remained visible, covering tombs, statues, and ruined temples, but for more than 1,400 years, no living person could understand what they say. It was only after the Rosetta Stone was deciphered in the 19th century that we could see what they had to say again. He wanted his words to endure forever, and in theory, they did, just locked away. On August 24th, 1814, enemy troops marched towards the White House, and the First Lady, Dolly Madison, was running out of time. American forces had just been defeated outside of Washington. President James Madison was away, and Dolly remained behind, gathering important papers while messengers warned that the British were almost upon them. As servants prepared to flee, Dolly looked towards the dining room. Hanging there was Gilbert Stuart's full-length portrait of George Washington, secured so tightly that it could not be removed normally. Dolly refused to leave it for the enemy. She ordered the portrait to be saved, and the White House staff and other helpers worked to break it free and to carry it to safety. Dolly escaped only shortly before the British soldiers entered the abandoned mansion. Inside, they discovered a dinner still waiting on the table, so they ate the food, drank the wine, and then set the White House ablaze. By morning, the mansion had been gutted. Washington's portrait had vanished in the night, escaping the flames that consumed the nation's capital. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next Eerie dose is just a day away.